Greetings, everyone. Tonight we have very special guests, and we will talk about a very special topic tonight. It is a morning format, and we will talk about enterprise blockchain, Quorum, its applications, and we will delve into the details and consensus transition, the governance and use cases. And this is Okan speaking. I have been working on, especially on digital identity projects, and I also have a project with Melih. And Melih also will talk about his own projects in Turkey. He's also a Quorum ambassador in Turkey. I think he will also mention the contribution of opportunities, and also Enes has been a very active participant of the blockchain community. Everyone knows him, and he will also mention Belgem.io. You can also send your questions, and I would like to first give the talk to Matt. We are very excited to hear about you, Matt.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks for having me. Should I give just a brief introduction? Perfect. Yeah, so I currently work at Quorum. I work on our ConsenSys Quorum private permission enterprise version of Ethereum. I'm also our developer community lead, so I work with Ethereum developers and bring them to ConsenSys products and projects. Previously, I was at JP Morgan working on Quorum for the past 2 years, and we were acquired this past year, and so I've transitioned over, and I'm helping bring the community all these new releases. Oh, did you hear what I was saying? Oh, okay. Shall we just dive into the presentation, or how do you guys want to do this? Yeah, Mela, if you're able to share screen, I can go through.
Yes, we can.
Cool. You can keep going to the next slide. I gave myself a brief introduction. Next slide. Great. So just a bit about ConsenSys. We were founded in 2014 by Joe Lubin, co-founder of Ethereum, and we develop and scale and launch hundreds of blockchain projects worldwide, and products that are all built on Ethereum. We're also one of the founding members of the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. All right, next slide. We have a proven track record within the ecosystem. So we have about 80,000 developers that are building on these various projects and products and use cases. And we've been able to work on a lot of tokenized projects and bringing assets to Ethereum. Next slide. For those that are new, I'm sure everyone is probably familiar with Ethereum, but I'll just give a bit of context. So Ethereum is an open sourced generalized blockchain for smart contract development. It's not just cryptocurrency, it's a platform for developing decentralized applications, or dApps. And essentially you can write code that controls digital value, that's uncensorable, that runs exactly as programmed, and is accessible anywhere in the world with an internet connection. And Quorum is our enterprise offering that is built on Ethereum. Next slide. So in regards to enterprise blockchain, we see a bunch of needs that aren't satisfied by public blockchains such as Ethereum. One being privacy. Transactions are a part of a public ledger, so it doesn't work for a lot of enterprises or banks. Permissioning, enterprises require that you're able to set different levels of access to different participants in the network. And performance. When you're dealing with a public blockchain, it's really difficult to have high transaction per second and high throughput, low latency. So, a lot of enterprises have had that requirement for a private permission blockchain, as well as finality. When you're dealing with trillions of dollars of transactions, high value assets on top of a data network, you need high certainty of the outcome of these transactions. All right, next slide. We can skip this one. Okay, so a little bit background on DLT consortiums. I'm sure all of you have been familiar with these, but for anybody new, it's an association of two or more individuals or organizations, governments, that have the objective of participating in a common activity and pooling the resources for achieving a common goal. And we're seeing this a lot with blockchain consortiums or enterprise Ethereum consortiums, where you're no longer solving a problem for your user or your customer, but more so for the industry as a whole. So you're able to take varied participants in an industry and pool together your resources to achieve cost saving, accelerated learning, risk sharing, and you can even build a critical mass of adoption of a lot of these projects. Next slide. So some of these use cases for that exact purpose we've seen are, with the banking and finance and insurance vertical, you're seeing network payments, tokenized cash, central bank interbank payments. If you're looking at capital markets, something like post-trade processing requires a lot of different parties passing hands of the transaction, supply chain finance, peer-to-peer lending, debt issuance. And then if you go to other verticals like supply chain, you also have the same consortium-driven, passing of hands of transactions, with things like cold chain logistics or supply chain tracking. And this is kind of where we see a lot of the use cases for ConsenSys Quorum and Enterprise Ethereum. Next slide. Next, and go next. Great. So what we deem as an Ethereum client is this peer-to-peer network layer where you can communicate information, blocks of a transaction into the network instead of this client-to-server model. As well, we have a consensus engine. So to maintain decentralization, you have to allow nodes in a network to reach consensus and agree on this distributed ledger of data. As well, we have the Ethereum virtual machine, which even with Enterprise Ethereum, you have to connect to the EVM and essentially execute your code. We have database and storage in a decentralized format that persists with Ethereum and with data trees and ledgers, distributed ledgers. And then we have the traditional APIs and JSON RPCs that help applications communicate with the Ethereum blockchain. So you can create this entire ecosystem of applications that are currently building out there. Next slide. So that's Ethereum, an Ethereum client. How we see Enterprise Ethereum is when you're allowed to do permissioning. So on a very high level, you have node permissioning. So when allowing members to enter your network, and so with ConsenSys Quorum, you're able to have a group of known participants interact with transactions, and then you have account level permissioning where even amongst that group, you can create subgroups that can communicate information amongst one another. So if you have certain parties that you don't want to see certain piece of data, you can hide that from them. Privacy, we're able to send transactions in an encrypted format that is private for only the known participants or the desired participants of that transaction. Then we have different consensus algorithms that work better for an enterprise environment. So With public Ethereum, we have proof of work, and we're moving to proof of stake. However, with a private permissioned enterprise environment, you don't need to do any mining. You're a part of a group of known participants. You don't need to verify these participants of the network via, consensus in terms of like mining and proof of work. So we're able to get a lot faster speeds, transaction speeds because of that. And then plugins. So anything that's compatible with Ethereum is compatible with enterprise Ethereum. It all works on the EVM. They all have compatible smart contracts. So everything's very pluggable into enterprise Ethereum that works in the public Ethereum space. You just can use it in a private environment more so. Next slide. Now with ConsenSys Quorum, we have 2 enterprise Ethereum clients. We have Hyperledger Besu, which is a part of Hyperledger, and it's Java based. And then we have Go Quorum, which was JP Morgan Quorum, and that's Golang based. So depending on your developers, if you wanted to, start running your own private permissioned version of Ethereum, you have some choices. You can choose between these 2 clients. All right, next slide. And so Go Quorum is a fork of Go Ethereum, and it's enterprise ready open source blockchain platform developed by JP Morgan. If you want to go to GitHub, you can clone or download this project and start running your own blockchain. It's all open source, and it's built for privacy, speed, and high throughput for enterprise. Next slide. And Besu is essentially the same. There's some key differences, but it is also open sourced. It's a private permissioned blockchain, and it works well with Ethereum mainnet compatibility, which Go Quorum is not. But either way, if you use ConsenSys Quorum, the umbrella, you have access to this entire suite of software stacks. Next slide. Yeah, and so to give a quick overview of our offering, we have the Ethereum client, which you can use Besu or Go Quorum, and they have corresponding transaction managers. So you have Orion and Tessera. Orion works with Besu and Tessera works with Go Quorum, but this is how we manage off-chain privacy. So you can't necessarily put everything on the given blockchain. So we have a transaction manager that's able to encrypt and decrypt the hash, which is able to maintain kind of like this segregation of duties and key management of this private blockchain. And then with ConsenSys Quorum, we offer support. So if you're an enterprise or bank and you want to get started, but you aren't necessarily sure of the risk, we have this enterprise support where we can kind of help guide you and get you started. Next slide. So key benefits. Key benefits for enterprise blockchain is confidentiality. We can support private and public transactions. It's secure, so there's advanced encryption techniques, and only permissioned entities can join your network. It is still decentralized. There's no dependency on a central party. So if you have this group of participants, although it works differently than public Ethereum, you're still able to have this be decentralized and not a central database. And it's also customizable. It's interoperable with anything built on Ethereum. And being that we are building on Ethereum, we leverage the world's largest blockchain community of Ethereum developers. And we also have 150 plus enterprises building on or building for the Enterprise Ethereum Alliance. So we're up to standards with the world's largest banks, supply chain companies, consultancies that are building on Ethereum. All right, we can go to the next slide, Mele. Let's just skip ahead. We'll go next slide. I know we're running short on time. So some of the features, again, we're seeing, In privacy, you can have private contracts and transactions. And we also offer extended encryption with a zero knowledge proof layer. If anyone's interested in extended privacy, there's finality, so there's no chain forking. You can't fork one of these networks, and it's immutable. There's no transaction reversal, which is a huge demand for enterprise. We also have high transaction per second, so you can mint blocks every 50 milliseconds approximately. There's a bunch of different parameters depending how big your network is, but the speed's actually a lot faster than public Ethereum or a public blockchain for that matter. And again, it's there's known people in your participating groups. All right, Mele, next slide. Yeah, let me go. Let's see. Yeah, keep going. Let's go to the next slide. Let's skip ahead. So if we go to the next slide, I'll just kind of show how this works. So essentially, if you were running a Go Quorum node, for example, you would have this simple smart contract that we have on the left here. And Mel, if you click next, there's an animation. You essentially send a transaction to your node, and then that would be broadcasted to the rest of the network. Now, if you want to have more of a permissioned network, you want to only send information from node A to node B and make sure node C wasn't able to see that information, you would make a transaction with your given Tessera transaction manager, and each node has their own transaction manager. You'll then send an encrypted payload to that transaction manager. It handles the data. It's able to send that to the corresponding Tessera transaction manager that's in the transaction, and then it will send back send back a hash of the decrypted payload to the original Quorum node A, and that will broadcast the updated ledger to the rest of the nodes. But only part A and B will be able to see the details of that transaction. As you can see here, the third node C, is not able to see the details of the transaction. So that's kind of how we see privacy in an enterprise blockchain format. You go to next slide, Mele. Next slide. Next slide. Yeah, so we'll just finish up with these last two slides. Essentially, again, where we see this is when you have geographically distributed members, there's spotty trust between these members, and there's no need for central control. And we typically see this with asset or supply chain systems, multi-party or multi-decision-making organizations, real-time auditing or operational transparency, any data integrity use cases. You can go to the next slide, and this will be, I think, my last slide. And so a lot of the use cases that we see in that exact format are, Link, for example. It's a JP Morgan project. This is a cross-bank blockchain for data exchange between 400 banks. There's also JPM coin, which is instant settlement of transactions between bank clients, and that runs on top of that Link network. And they're able to, with JP Morgan reserves, peg this JPM coin to the US dollar 1-to-1 inside their internal private permissioned environment. So this is not a stable coin. This is just a mark on a ledger for them. We also have Project Ubin, which might be interesting for a few of you. It's the Singapore Monetary Authority is working on wholesale payments for the Singapore dollar. And then the Brazil Central Bank is using ConsenSys Quorum for data exchange between different government agencies. So such as the Securities Commission or Pension Authority, they're able to maintain a shared database of information between one another. And there's hundreds more use cases. I'm more than happy to share the rest of these, but from supply chain and tracking from source, how efficient the supply chain was and how you can audit that supply chain is is a use case that we see quite frequently, and also, bringing finance and supply chain together and seeing things like trade finance, and being able to track and trace and mitigate paper trail is also the second largest use case that we're seeing out there. Yeah, and then Melly, you can go to the last slide. Next one. One last one. Yeah, right here. So if you're a developer, if you're an enterprise and you want to get started with ConsenSys Quorum, developers, you can go straight to your command line and npx install Quorum Dev Quick Start. That's probably the quickest way to figure out how to launch your own blockchain, ConsenSys Quorum blockchain. And for any non-developers, Melly, you can go to the last slide. Sorry. This is probably the best way to get engaged. This is my email. Feel free to reach out to me. We have a Discord. So if anybody wants to get any information on ConsenSys Quorum, we'll be there. And also, yeah, feel free to reach out to me on email. Thank you.
Thank you, Matt. It has been very exciting to hear these from you by yourself. And actually, in your project slide, I couldn't see our projects in Turkey. I think Melih will mention them right now. And Enes and I will also add some more. I think as Melih is preparing, I would like to add, I think Quorum is a landmark in Turkey among other blockchain platforms. It is lightweight, it is easily built. Most developers don't like Solidity, I believe, but Quorum is a landmark, I believe.
Awesome, yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Just a second. Yep. Hello, everyone. Matt, thank you for great presentation. You have touched all of them. And welcome again. My name is Melih Birim. I am founder of Tubayo. And today I'm going to share the project that we have worked with Quorum team and on my Tubarge on these are all running on Quorum. And about myself, I'm co-founder of Tubayo. And since 2018, I'm Turkey ambassador. And now I'm ConsenSys Quorum ambassador. It was Quorum ambassador before. And we are partners of ConsenSys company since September. And I have experience in telecommunication and finance for 15 years as a developer, project manager, whatever else. You can pick any title you want. And today, agenda is a little bit production applications on Turkey, in Turkey, and using Quorum, and will be in production in 6 months. And our research projects and the POC projects that currently developed. And the last one, I will be talking about a little bit how we can contribute to Quorum and how we can actually use or learn and help us to share this knowledge and information about blockchain and DLT base. So to mention that in 2000 sorry, it was a mistypo. A production application between telecommunication operators. We have been using Quorum 2.2. It started in 2018 and in production since May 2019. It's almost going to be 2 years now. And we are using Quorum with rough consensus, a million blocks almost a day. It is working, I mean, well, but not the suitable formation, but it is working well right now. Although we are doing too many migrations, but we are, I'm happy to share that we are helping telecommunication operators to create a network to share blacklist data between them. And then it will be expanding to other telecommunication operators, I guess, in coming months. So
Well, if you let me, I'd like to add a few words about that here.
Sure.
It was a very common problem in Turkey, and the operators had so much bad debt because of the very bad customers. So one customer could cause damage to all companies of all operators in Turkey, and it has been a very hard use case because it was a very competitive project, right, Melih?
Yeah, it is, because these companies are all competitors, and also they would like to share data between themselves for almost, 70 million people, and almost 3 million people, can be in debt in total. So sharing this information is a little bit difficult in web services. So they proposed a solution in blockchain, and then we stand for Quorum, and we use it. And it was a battle tested for Quorum. And I remember that Sam and Felix was very keen how we use it since the GPM times. And we have met with Matt since then, and then I will be supporting Quorum since then. But it was like a de facto project for Quorum in Turkey, because all these parties are competitors and they would like to share data that they can use. So since then, we are proving it, and many people learning from these projects and experiences, especially in telecommunication operators. I hope that it will be expanding to new projects in the future. So our second project is actually to-pay. We started with peer-to-pay mail voucher payment system back in 2017. It was like a small project, started with Ethereum and then went to Quorum afterwards. So it was using Raft consensus, peer-to-peer transfer in meal payments from restaurants to users, but we closed the system after October 18.
Melih, if you are sharing any information about these projects, if you have any slides, we don't see them now. We are seeing your initial slide right now.
Ah, really?
We see ConsenSys Quorum application.
Okay, is it okay now?
We still see the first slide right now.
Okay, let me do this way.
Okay.
Is it okay now?
We can see it now.
Okay, cool.
Yes.
Will be a problem in my slides. So right now we're working on a Tube.io as a development workbench on Quorum and Hyperledger Besu. It helps you to directly deploy your applications on our test networks and test your solution, smart contracts, and let you use it on any network that we can add it. So it's a base for our all applications that we are actually going to be on production in next years. So there's an application in API, which is an exchange of energy trading, green certification trading platform, which will be used almost thousands of people, and it will be in production 17th of March. So we are using Raft consensus, Gold Quorum new version, and it's running on Kubernetes and helps you to trade any green certifications in almost near real time. It will be first project used in trading processes, and it's all built on blockchain and on Gold Quorum basically. So, and the other project that will be started, a month ago, it will be Tuzla Municipality Residency Card project, and they would like to share surveys, feedbacks, residency information from card to apps, and it will be a peer-to-peer application on top of Quorum, and anyone can use it like identity, like a loyalty card, and we will be eliminating physical cards to applications from that point, and anyone can add their site to this network, and they can share the loyalties between applications or from different municipalities. So the idea was and it will be in production within a month. So we have many research projects I will be sharing Muğla University, and we will be presenting a network, DS for Hash, and it will be running a physical network between three universities and Tubarge itself. And we are testing Raspberry Pi mini PCs, a network that can be constructed easily. And this project is led by Enis Karasan, which is a friend of mine, and it is and he's really great at blockchain projects. So we are using it for our development and research projects. And there's another one which will be a academic project for Eskişehir Osman Gazi University, and we helped them to build a blockchain network and blockchain laboratory, and they started to use the blockchain quorum for certification and also diploma information to any company or to any university for applications. So the last one, we have ongoing projects, ongoing POCs. We have a very famous FMCG company client, food production traceability. And we are trying to bring a public sector fraud detection for oil and gas trading. And also I'm helping cluster draft implementation for Quorum. It will be a new probably consensus for ourselves, and maybe we will be finishing it within this June 1st version. So why we're supporting Quorum? It is actually, as Okan said, it's going to be a de facto for Turkey, and it is easy to learn. It's really fast, unforkable nodes, reliable, and it is really easy to install right now compared to any Hyperledger project. It has a really small footprint and supply plugin development. Also, my favorite part is it is supporting 3 different consensus algorithms like Raft, IBFT, and Click. You can pick anyone you want. If you need a high transaction and throughput, you can go with Raft, or if you want small portion of organization can benefit from IBFT, which can be used for chained agreements of contracts or transactions, or you can use Click, which is basically private transaction consensus for Ethereum basics. And also, it has really huge community. I'm really happy to be part of it. And we are helping people on Discord, on Slack, and anyone really helpful on answering questions. Even if small or silly questions, they can help you right away. And we have support from ConsenSys. And as being a local ambassador, you can actually reach me anytime you want. I'm available all the day. Because of some problems we have faced with GP Morgan and ConsenSys, we couldn't get it with webinars or other stuff, but we will be speeding up and accelerate these webinars and reaching out to new members of this Quorum thing. And so to contribute, please join us Slack, and we really help you to seeing that you're testing it, you are using it, and this is the first part of helping out for Quorum projects. So this is all from my side. You can reach me from Melih@tubu.io. Thanks.
Thank you, Melih. It was I was very proud to see those projects live and on the way. I'm also proud to see that. Yeah, it was a COM project, and Blacklist was such a hard project, so that it also had 3 academic papers on our site.
Mm-hmm.
So I would like to give the talk to Enis right now. As he is preparing, I have one question for you, Melih. Is it easy to be a part of the contributing community in Quorum, in your experience?
Yeah, it is really easy, and you can actually sign a contribution license, and then you can actually submit your PR, and Developers from GPM side and ConsenSys side, they are really helpful to let you know that you're on the right track or you're on the wrong track, and they help you to customize your code, and they make you review your contributions, and it is really easy, and it is like talking to your friend. And any developer actually help most than you want.
Okay, Enes, we are excited to hear about you.
Okay, thank you, Okan. Hello, everyone. My name is Enes Türk, and I work as a business development engineer for BKM, Bankalararası Kart Merkezi, which is known as Interbank Card Center of Turkey. Today, I'm going to talk about one of our blockchain proof of concepts called Belge-Mayo. Let me give you a brief introduction about BKM first, and then I'll link the story of the Belgem afterwards. BKM was established by public and private banks in Turkey, and inside our company, there's a department called BBN Academy, which aims to provide training materials about payments industry for our members. BBN Academy has been issuing physical certificates for a long time, and we were after a new use case as a department for our new blockchain proof of concept. It was a great match for both of us, and we teamed up with Microsoft Turkey and Veripark to develop on our use case. So we start to look for blockchain platforms to, fulfill and satisfy our use case. After we decided to move on with Ethereum, Belge-Mayo was launched on November 2018. Belge-Mayo is a digital platform which is designed to store, weave, and share digital certificates on a private permissioned Quorum blockchain. What it does is to make sure that verified institutions issue certificates to verified users, basically. With that, we were able to build a solution that can verify authenticity of the digital certificates, and a solution that utilizes from digital governance and digital ID infrastructure. And then at the end, we were able to produce an environment-friendly solution. So what happens inside Belge-Mayo, that users can get their verifiable digital certificates as unique weave tokens, which are represented as unique URLs in their browsers. With that URLs, it's easier to share your records to related parties. To summarize what we have learned while building Belge-Mayo, firstly, we became familiar with Ethereum and Quorum blockchain platforms. We designed and developed our smart contracts using Truffle framework with Solidity programming language. We experienced two different consensus algorithms, which were proof of authority, and the other one is IBFT, Istanbul Byzantine fault tolerance. Belge-Mayo is on its phase 2 now. In phase 1, we used Ethereum proof of authority from Azure Cloud Services and become one of the first that utilizes from it. In phase 2, we switched to Quorum to discover a new blockchain platform, which was tailored for enterprise solutions such as Belge-Mayo. We also benefit from BKM Express. It's a digital wallet solution of BKM, and government's Mernis API to verify users' IDs. Also, we use MetaMask for verifying and whitelisting institutions. Last but not least, we used asymmetrical cryptography, which is known as public key cryptography as well, to verify the digital certificates, whether they're authentic or not. Since certificates are digital, users can easily view and share their records. Today, Belge-Mayo runs on Quorum with its 4 nodes, more than 2,800 certificates created for its users. We managed to achieve 4 to 6 seconds average block processing time, which is pretty good for us and our users as well. As BKM, we love to share our learnings, so we published 2 reports about Belge-Mayo's story, how Belge-Mayo was developed, what kind of problems that we had to overcome, which technologies we used, and etc. You can find these reports in BKM's website on publications page and Belge-Mayo's homepage. They're all free to download. I would like to thank you all for your time, and I'll be happy to answer your questions in the Q&A session.
Thank you, Enes. I also would like to add that our viewers can ask their questions, and I am going to start with one of them right now. Matt, this one is for you. Ömer Faruk Bostaş is asking, asking, why should we use Quorum instead of Hyperledger Fabric in supply chain management? What is the biggest advantage of using Quorum instead of Fabric?
Yeah, so biggest advantage, one is that it's built on top of Ethereum. Fabric is not. And you're able to leverage the Ethereum community and the development that's been going on for years with that ecosystem. And then, you know, if you're looking across the technology and like transaction speed, things like that, it differs per use case. So I can't really go into detail on that. But the biggest thing is Ethereum.
Mm-hmm. That's cool. Alaaddin Özer is asking, how about Quorum and Ethereum 2.0? Is there any update for Quorum to be compatible with Ethereum 2.0?
Yeah, so if you're using the Hyperledger Besu client, that is ETH2 compatible or Ethereum mainnet compatible, and we're working towards ETH2 interoperability and you know, things like that. So yes, it's one of our chief focuses on the roadmap, technical roadmap.
I also would like to add something to that question. As you mentioned, interoperability, and how did you try Quorum in a live use case with interoperable scenario, like using bridges or in a interoperable blockchain, different blockchain platform?
Yeah, so so we have two priorities on the roadmap right now. One is ETH2 compatibility, and then second is interoperability between Quorum and Besu, but also ConsenSys Quorum as a whole and other DLTs like Hyperledger Fabric or Corda. Now, in terms of like live use cases where we're demonstrating interoperability, none to my knowledge, but if anyone would like to volunteer, reach out to me. I'm happy to guide you to some of the docs. We're getting close. We're getting close in terms of interoperability between our two clients.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think sorry.
The plugin management, which is actually recently added, I mean, a couple of months ago, I remember, the plugin management for Quorum and Besu is actually helping us to make this interoperability more easy to manage. So right now, the HSM plugin is on the way, so you can use it. Any privacy plugin, you can use it. But for Besu, and I saw some projects actually, Besu and Quorum can be told each other by using plugins only. So you don't have to change the Ethereum code base. Instead, you just plug your code, and then they can actually talk each other.
That's great to hear. And another question from Anil Dyson Music. And how about music distribution and music social network? Why we should use Quorum, not Hyperledger Fabric? And if you would like to use any support or cooperation? That's a similar question to the previous one. Any of you can answer that.
Yeah, so I don't have insight on that specific use case. I will say though that Ernst & Young and Microsoft are using Quorum for licensing and for what's it called? Not just licensing, but also for video game license distribution and kind of that value chain of a data between the creator and the organization and the distributor, which I can totally see being done with music. It's a perfect use case. I personally haven't seen anything done on ConsenSys Quorum for music distribution or licensing, but we've seen it for video games.
Yeah, it is one of the use cases we had wanted to look at in Turkcell, as Turkcell has a Spotify similar product, Fizi, and music distribution or license management also a big problem over there, also in Turkey.
Just to add something on
Yeah.
Hyperledger and Quorum comparison. So it doesn't matter which one you actually like to use. Hyperledger has BSU, Hyperledger has other projects. But in terms of Fabric, it is not easy to, install or manage by yourself. You can get benefit from cloud services. But if you like to build a permission network between different organizations, you have to keep your eye on it. And it has a really huge footprint compared to Quorum. So in Quorum, it is based on Ethereum. You can only install a GET client and try to run it on your own. So that's it. And you can join a network if you have permission, and if you have actually, permission to enter that network. But on the other hand, if you need high speed of transactions between organizations, so you can consider Fabric rather than Quorum. But Quorum has the raw consensus. So raw consensus can help you to facilitate and speed up your transactions. As Matt said, between 50 milliseconds, which is really cool in terms of transaction per second rates. But if you need more transactions like 10,000 or 20,000, you have to use, I think, Fabric special editions for that.
I have a question for Matt. I actually mentioned that we have been working a lot in focused on digital identity projects in Turkcell, and I have a special interest in that manner. We have also looked into sovereign and self-sovereign identity concepts. And do you think I may not know, it may be my ignorance, but is there a similar self-sovereign identity concept in Ethereum or Quorum?
Top of mind, I don't have any. So ConsenSys does have a lot of interest in identity. They've worked on a few projects. I personally just don't have enough background on those projects to give you any insights. I'm happy to send them over to you though, or anybody that's interested. Okay. I don't want to give you the wrong information.
Okay, I know that it works on Hyperledger as a special case of smart contract, but we also had worked with SKT in an international project. They wanted to move into Hyperledger Fabric for scalability. Maybe there is a similar scenario in here too that I thought. I don't see any other questions. Enes, do you have one or?
No.
Okay, let me ask one or a few questions, and then let's close the night. And do you have any plan to separate metadata chain from contract chain? That was one of the problems we had in the project between the operators. For some platforms such as Avalanche has different chains for smart contract and blockchain platform. Is there any plan to do this in Quorum or Ethereum? Do you know that?
I don't know. I don't have any insight on that.
Okay. No, it's not on the roadmap, Matt.
Not on the roadmap.
Okay, I will open an issue. Melik,
Please do.
Please teach.
Hey, if
But
you open an
we-
issue, I'll tell the engineers.
Yeah, we managed
Okay.
to separate the consensus and I mean they managed to separate the consensus and blockchain data. But as you already know, Ethereum based on transactions, and transactions belongs to blocks. So which is really difficult to change the Ethereum client, because Gold Quorum is actually based on Ethereum client. So it depends on how you can change it. We can change the Ethereum client itself, but we managed to. I mean, they managed to separate concerns of consensus and blockchain, so you can use without the consensus, like click consensus of
that's what's
of the blockchain, and then help you to test it at least.
Yeah, that's what's nice is we don't necessarily change the Ethereum client. You just add various plugins or extensions, and we kind of modified our Geth node, so it's a little bit different than public Ethereum, but yeah, everything's pretty much upstream.
But at the same time, BCTR is actually has support to different database structure, so you can actually change it to another database. So in Ethereum, Go Ethereum, it is level DB, but on BCTR you can use a different connector to different databases.
Yeah.
Okay. I would like to add that we were a very fan of Quorum in development of our projects, because we had some bugs that we came into, but we suddenly saw that it was magically solved very, very fast, and I think the community is super fast and community is super close. I thank you for that, and it has been a great talk to see you, to have you here, Matt. It has been 6 months to take you here.
I so long. I'm glad I made it. Thank you for having me, and thanks for everybody's time.
All right, thank you. Let me add, this was an organization of Blockchain Turkey. This is a result of the International Relations Work Group, and NS had also already organized a few meetups before that, and it has been very exciting to talk to you. I hope there will be more to that. Thank you, Matt. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Blockchain Turkey.
For hosting us.
Amazing.
Thank you, everyone, for hosting us.